Greetings to my 1120 subscribers, and of course you, the future subscriber. Tonight we are looking at the Irish whiskey, Roe Co. Never heard of it. And every Sunday evening I get an email from an online store in Holland giving me a discount code, telling me there's a new whiskey or telling me there's a special offer going on for the next week. And I'm a bit of a sucker for a special whiskey, or a little bit of a sucker of a discount. And this is one of the whiskeys that I picked up about 2 weeks ago. And something completely strange to me, Roe Co. I thought it was, it's not something that I've come across. Maybe it's nice to review something that is a little bit strange. A little bit of an Irish whiskey. I haven't done a lot of Irish whiskies, and so I thought I'm going to pick it up. 35 euros I think I paid for it, so not a lot of money. It is a no age statement whiskey. It is bottled at 45% ABV. It is of course a Irish blended whiskey, and it's a blend between malt whiskey and grain whiskey, mostly aged in first fill ex-bourbon casks, non-chill filtered, and of course with a little bit of translation. Here at the back of the bottle, this is a German translation, and they do tell us that it is color added. So one of the rules and regulations in Germany, if you add coloring to a whiskey, you have to put it on the bottle. A lot of other bottles or bottlings will not have that statement on it. So it is non-chill filtered, but of course it does show some coloring. So yeah, definitely quite a lot of coloring added to it. So it's going to be a quick nose and a taste. I did spend some time with it yesterday when I opened the bottle. I did some nosing and tasting. I spent a little bit of time with it. Not much information on it. As you can see, two labels in the front and a little bit of a useless label at the back, which is quite strange, but you don't get a lot of information on the bottle. So on the bottle itself, just Irish whiskey from Dublin, Roe Co. The nice round label. I do like the label. I do like these little stumpy bottles with the big stoppers. So I do like this. And the back, the only thing that they give us, it is the fact that they do add coloring. And in German, when you do a Google Translate, they tell you they put dye in it. And a bottle at 45% ABV, blended Irish whiskey, and very very small red lettering that says it is matured in ex-bourbon casks. So that is the information, and proudly non-chill filtered, and a little bit of a logo of the tower or mill that they are talking about, a windmill, very small. So onto the nosing and tasting. Roe Co. I do like this name. I do like the name Roe Co. It's a little bit like an old Western movie when you see these little shops next to the taverns, and Roe Co. will definitely work fantastic in that era. But of course, tonight it's about the Roe Co. Irish blended whiskey. Color-wise, definitely some color added, and there is a little bit of a oiliness, a little bit of a viscosity. It a little bit sticks to the glass, and it forms a lovely slow thin long legs and just slowly goes down the glass. So definitely a little bit of a oiliness in this one. No age statement whiskey, so I'm not sure how old the whiskey it is. But if you take it on the nose, cheers, and you give it a little bit of an agitation, and the first thing that you do get is that youthfulness of the alcohol. It's a little bit of a punchy one, 45% ABV. The first thing that I get is that after that initial little bit of agitation, it is strong. It's a little bit ethanol, a little bit of a nail polish remover. But as soon as it settled down, it just leaves you with a lovely, pleasant, sweet, little bit oak on the nose. And with that settling down and that initial harshness, you are left with a nice vanilla, a little bit of a fudge note, a little bit of a normal or the original vanilla fudge note. It reminds me a little bit of a Eat Some More biscuits that you can get in South Africa. So a little bit of a biscuit note. There's a little bit of a red apple, but a hint of a red apple note coming out. Maybe like a freshly squeezed apple cider, but it's very subtle. It also moves over to a little bit of a caramel note, a little bit of a toffee note coming out. I also get a little bit of a perfumey note, especially when it settles down a little bit. There's a light perfuminess coming out, quite pleasant on the nose. It is a mixture or a blend between the grain and the malt whiskey, and I think the grain whiskey on the nose is definitely winning the competition. There's definitely that grain note that you can pick up, a little bit of a butterscotchy note, a typical little bit of a bourbon sweetness coming out. And if you pour it, I would suggest to give it a little bit of time. Not a lot of time, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just to get rid of that harshness of that alcohol. And after that, it really opens up well, and that lovely sweetness comes out. Definitely not a complex whiskey, but definitely very pleasant on the nose. So on the taste, cheers. Every time that I go in for the taste, I get that same sensation. Wow. It is, for me, vanilla, ice cream, and whiskey. A Don Pedro. And with that, you add a little bit of those caramel sauce and a little bit of a chocolate sauce that you just put over it. And it is really, really nice. It's pleasant, it's creamy, it's sweet, it's vanilla. Ooh, and even at that 45% ABV, I'm not taking big sips, but you don't really feel the alcohol on that. Let me just want to make sure. And with the second sip, even a little bit of a bigger sip, nice warm feeling. But immediately after that little alcohol punch, you are left with that sweetness. I get a little bit of a dark chocolate. Think about my vanilla ice cream, and a little bit of a chocolate bits that you put in your ice cream with all those lovely things that you put on. But it's like eating the ice cream and you hit a little chocolate piece, and all of a sudden, wow, it's a sweet, a hint of a bitter note, and then it disappears, leaving you with the lovely sweetness in your mouth, that vanilla notes in the mouth. And of course, once you go back, it's like experiencing it all over again. There's definitely a little bit of a tannins, a little bit of a oak. Reminds me not just on the dark chocolate side, but also a little bit maybe on an espresso note or a little bit of a Turkish coffee note. There is definitely a little bit of a build up on the oaky tannins. Just want to make sure. But I think it's necessary to have that little bit of a bitters. It's quite sweet on the taste. Reminds me again, loads and loads of that grain whiskies that bourbon notes coming out, that bourbon sweetness coming out, a little bit of a butterscotchy, a little bit of a caramel, a little bit of a oakiness that comes out in the end. Really pleasant as well. Now, 30 odd euros for a bottle, no age statement whiskey. I think it is a good buy. And they also have a 13-year-old, and I'm quite interested into trying the 13-year-old. I do like this one. The funny thing about this, I just watched a video this afternoon on cocktails, and one of the YouTubers that I subscribe to is every Friday evening he makes cocktails, and it was just strange that this evening he also uploaded a video with Roe Co, and he made an apple sour cocktail. Oh, that looked fantastic. Definitely going to try that one. So it's also recommended by a lot of people for cocktails. So I'm not sure. I will try it and maybe do a quick review on it. But for me, this one, really nice on the nose, nice on the taste. Not a very complex whiskey. I think this is just pick it up, pour it, enjoy it, and forget about it. And a couple of weeks later, take it out again and finding a little bit of a Irish gold nugget. So, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I see you next time. Cheers.